show. It is Halloween. Obviously, this is one of the most satanic days of year, if not the most satanic day of the year. Obviously, this is when the veil is at its thinnest, which means spiritual warfare at its highest. Satan is Halloween to summon all sorts of spirits and to wage spiritual warfare against Christians. But of course, we're all led to believe it's just about eating candy and getting dressed up. And now we live in a society where adults are more interested in Halloween than kids are, because we have adults behaving as children, which is why we're in the mess that we're in. So I want to play a documentary, but before I do, here on the End of the Beginning channel, I want you to know that I'm still uploading daily content. A lot of you are wondering where I am. I'm uploading on 3 new channels. They're all linked below in the description box and in the comment section. I highly recommend you pause this video now. I ask you to do that for me and go and subscribe to those channels if you still want my content. If you don't want my content, I don't really know why you're listening, but there should be more people over on those channels. You should be aware of where I am. There's so much stuff going on that you need to know about. I understand you need breathers probably for my content because it's a lot to handle, but you need to know what's going on with Israel. You need to understand the Christian deception that is coming. I'm trying to cover it the best I can over on those channels. They are linked below. Eye for an Eye, United Uprising, and A Call for Vengeance. Please subscribe to those now. I'm going to play for you this documentary that I've used over the years in regards to Halloween and what it's really about. So enjoy. Here it is.
Welcome to this edition of The Pagan Invasion.
Halloween is a festival that conjures up images of ghosts, skeletons, black cats, witches on broomsticks, and little costume children scurrying about the neighborhood.
Oh my goodness! Who are you? Get away!
While there are some people who may be concerned about the origins of Halloween and its focus on blood, death, horror, and the occult, to millions of youngsters across the nation, it has been adopted as a time to pursue scary fun. It is an opportunity to dress up in ghoulish or fanciful costumes, to engage in the fantasy of being a witch, or a vampire, ghost, or devil. Eager trick-or-treaters solicit candy door to door, or bob for apples at Halloween parties. Others play haunted houses and horror movie marathons, while the more daring visit cemeteries at midnight, play with Ouija boards, and hold seances in an effort to contact spirits of the dead. One of the biggest promoters of Halloween is the public school system. School-sponsored Halloween-themed activities often include dances, costume contests, carnivals, and arts and crafts projects. Education officials admit that more effort is usually put into the celebration of Halloween than any other holiday, including Christmas and Easter.
Is the stimulation of a child's sense of fun and fear all there is to Halloween, or is there more? For many entrepreneurs, Halloween is big business, a major promotional event used to bring in billions of dollars worth of revenue. In addition to the usual costumes of cartoon characters for children, a growing number of outlets are featuring more macabre and sinister creations for purchase. This one well-known department store chain will sell more than $500 million worth of Halloween paraphernalia this year, and that doesn't include revenue from the sales of trick-or-treat candy. Costume shops such as this one are able to stay in business year-round as a result of the tremendous sales and rentals they receive during the Halloween rush. Farmers also view Halloween with an eye toward making big profits. Pumpkins are a traditional Halloween accessory used by households nationwide as jack-o'-lantern decorations. This one Southern California field of only 164 acres will yield nearly $250,000 to its owner.
Halloween is manipulated by the promoters of horror movies and videos as a major marketing opportunity. While horror films used to be synonymous with B-movies and considered the conventional low-budget industry standby, today they account for nearly 20% of all of the revenue received by feature film producers and distributors. The success of the technical revolution in special effects has attracted serious film directors to produce well-crafted, elaborate horror productions. A recent visit to the Video Software Theaters Association exhibition in Las Vegas showed that the 2 biggest-selling artistic genres were pornography and horror. Hollywood is continuing to capitalize on society's growing craving for the occult and demonic. The irony is that while these producers label such films as fun and make-believe, many of them hire practicing witches or Satanists as technical advisors who ensure the authentic reproduction and performances of rituals, sacrifices, spells, and curses.
People are so hyper during the day, they need to come home and watch something that's totally unreal so they can relieve themselves from all the pressures. Is it the type of thing that makes you laugh and forget about life?
Over the last few decades, most horror films have become far more graphic in their depictions of violence and cruelty. Movies, affectionately known as splatter films, routinely detail torture and dismembering of bodies, drinking of blood, cannibalism, rape, and a host of other grotesque atrocities.
But we think it's pretty fun. A lot of people just like it because it's fun, it's wacko, it's not real, and so it's just the type of thing that people like to watch. You don't have to think reality when you watch it.
When it comes to gore or splatter, or any other particular genres, the justification lies in our Constitution. I don't feel anybody has the right to tell me what I can and cannot watch.
Most of these films receive R ratings, which means that children under 17 cannot view the film or rent the video without the accompaniment of an adult. Yet this precaution is seldom enforced, for 15 is the average age of those who see these films. While many producers claim that these gruesome spectaculars are merely fun and not dangerous to the psyche of our youth, many of the scenarios from the horror films are duplicated in copycat crimes, which make for sensational headlines.
Glenn Hobbs was initiated into a satanic coven as a child by his grandfather and continued participating for many years. I recently asked Glenn about his involvement and the importance of Halloween to the occultists.
Well, my involvement in satanic worship was, I was involved in it as a child. Of course, I was a generational Satanist, what they call a generational Satanist. And what that means is that my family was involved in it and their family before them. Now, my earliest rememberings of Halloween and some of the things that were involved was, it was a very dark time for me as a child. It was something that I didn't enjoy.
Glenn, could you tell us about your involvement in any rituals of Halloween as a child?
There was another little girl that was involved in the occult with me, and her name was Becky. Now, Becky was a different type of child. She was blessed to be a sacrifice. I was being blessed to be a high priest, where she was being blessed and born into the coven there to be a sacrifice. Now, we were in a ritual when we were married together. It was a marriage to the beast. And me and the little girl were married together, and there was a lot of sexual abuse that took place, a lot of blood that was spilled over for us, joining us together.
When do Halloween rituals actually begin, and what is the ultimate purpose of Halloween?
Well, the ritual that I remember the most clearly began about the end of September. Me and the little girl, the one I mentioned named Becky, the abuse was very concentrated at that time. We were taken into several rooms where our clothing was removed. We spent the next couple of weeks in a kind of a shack where a lot of rituals went on, where a lot of animals were killed. They summoned Lucifer and his spirit to come and possess me, and so that I would be blessed to take over the position of the high priest at a certain point in time. Now, Halloween night, they had again put me and the little girl in the back of the van, and we again drove off, which seemed like for a long time. We were drugged once again, and we finally came to a stop. They took the little girl out and they left me in the van. I could hear a lot of commotion that was going on outside. People that were screaming and yelling, and this low murmuring and moaning noise that was going on, like some kind of low chanting noise that was going on. So I knew in my mind there was some type of a ritual going on because I'd heard that many times before. You know, it's real common to see people fall on the ground and convulsion and go into convulsions during rituals and stuff with the demonic presence that were around. And finally, a woman came to the back of the van and she said, "It's time to go." And she brought me out of the van, and I could see that there was a lot of people around. Some were dressed in dark brownish kind of robes with hoods over them. They took me up and they led me up to this stone altar. And I remember I saw the little girl, and she was on the altar. Now, at first, I just wondered what was going on, because you never knew. I mean, they used altars for a lot of different things. It could have just been sacrificing an animal over. It could have been a sexual abuse from the high priest onto her. You know, it was a hard thing to know for sure. Well, they ushered me up to the altar, and I could see that they had bound her feet. They had her feet spread apart, her legs, and they bound them to the ends of the altar, and they had taken her arms, which were laying out this way, and roped them to the altar, which had little kind of like hooks, which they could bind the rope around. And she was really white. I remember seeing her. She was just real pale, real white. And I noticed that they had slit the bottoms of her feet and her wrists. And they were taking the blood that was running out of those areas and putting it in chalices and passing those cups around to different people who were partaking of her blood. Then the high priest, he took the athami, or the ritual knife, and he picked it up and he put my hand on it, and then he forced it into her chest. So when I think back on Halloween, over that period of time that happened, that was the climax event, Halloween night, where they killed that innocent little girl. And this is something that's happening every Halloween. That's not just an isolated event. I mean, there are children all over the world who are losing their lives during Halloween night, and yet we, as a society, we go out and celebrate it, and we go door to door, and we ask for candy, and it's a big celebration to us. And I think it's quite ironic how one group of people are thinking it's fun, and another group of people are taking human life, and yet they don't, there seems to be this wall, and nobody wants to face the fact of what's really going on.
Today, reports from all over the world show a growing concern over mushrooming attraction towards the occult. Heinous crimes connected with the occult, according to police, are reaching epidemic proportions. Halloween is the time when community service organizations warn that children and animals are most likely to be abducted. To truly understand the significance of Halloween and its role in this mayhem, we must go back to its historic roots. What you are looking at are actual rituals and spells being performed by practicing witches and druids throughout America and Europe. These are not actors or reenactments, they are real.
Most of Halloween's customs are the remains of a pagan superstition relating to Samhain, the Druidic New Year. The Druids were the influential priests, magicians, and sorcerers of the nature religions that prevailed in early northern Europe. These native beliefs permeated Celtic culture for about 2,000 years, up until the introduction of Christianity. Today, a revival of the practices of Druidism, along with various forms of witchcraft and nature worship, are sweeping across Europe and North America.
Druidism is full of people with all sorts of life, from soap opera stars to doctors, lawyers, dentists, and toilet cleaners. Anybody can be a druid.
I'm standing on Primrose Hill, which is one of the sacred sites in London. And it was here that the Druid Order was inaugurated in its last, most recent cycle in 1717, when a number of Druids from Wales, Scotland, and Ireland, Brittany, and England came together. And it is here that some of the ceremonies are held.
Samhain was seen as a time when the dividing line between the dead and the living was at its thinnest. Consequently, contact with spirit beings was thought to be easiest. Samhain was also one of the major fire festivals of the Celts. At this time, the Druidic priesthood led the people in diabolical worship ceremonies in which they would sacrifice animals and humans in ritual killings.
Human sacrifice has absolutely no place in the modern tradition. Just because we say a pagan revival doesn't mean that we wish to go back to barbarous anymore. So it's a bit of a red herring. It's not something we like to talk about.
The name for Druids is believed to come from the Greek word druos, meaning oak. Druids usually select groves of oaks for their ceremonies and use the leaves in their sacred rites.
The work of the Druids consists in reuniting us with the world of nature externally and internally with that stream of ancient wisdom and knowledge.
Sharing the Druidic tradition of nature worship is witchcraft, the title which is from the Saxon word wicca, meaning the one who practices sorcery. The Oxford Dictionary states that a Wiccan is one who is twisted, bent, or warped. Despite attempts from modern Wiccans to sanitize the original intention of witchcraft, its practice cannot be divorced from demonology.
The guardians of the watchtower of the east, I Easter, I treated and witch, do summon and stir thee. I command thy presence at this our meeting, to guard over our circle and to witness our rights. Smithy.
My mother was a witch, and my grandmother was a witch, and I have been a witch for as long as I can remember. Since I have been practicing the craft, there has been a great revival.
I believe there's about 1 million people in England alone that practice witchcraft. The pagans are all over the place with their covens if they're not calling themselves witches alone. they are paganistic in their ways.
There are probably now as many people practicing witchcraft in Britain as there are committed Christians. I regard myself as a natural witch. I've regarded myself as a witch since early childhood. I was brought up in a very isolated part of the country, on the Welsh border, which has a long tradition of magic and Welsh sorcerers. It's almost as if there's a kind of grassroots feeling back towards paganism. We live in a kind of post-Christian era almost, and that people are moving towards a kind of neo-paganism, I suppose.
We learn as practical witches to tap into forces of nature and to actually, if you like, send out a spell or an incantation or an invocation in a very powerful way.
And it brings back nature, to bring oneself back to nature, and to learn how we fit in with the natural scheme of the universe, the natural scheme of the earth, and understanding what we need to heal the planet.
Because worship of nature is so central to their theology, large numbers of practicing druids and witches are dedicated to today's ecology movement.
We have a number of initiatives which include planting groves of sacred trees and a campaign for individual ecological responsibility, which is concerned with showing how each of us can become ecologically responsible.
I think the time is coming now where we have to take the responsibility by the throat and pick it up and say, there are answers here. I'm not prepared as a pagan, as a priest, as a practicing witch, to sit back and see my planet, my mother, raped any longer.
Come answer come to me.
Halloween is often confused as a Christian holiday because of its association with Christian All Saints' Day or the Eve of St. Hallows All Souls' Day. In fact, the original Christian dedication used to be celebrated in May and was intended to honour those Christians who died for their faith. But by the 9th century, the influential Roman Catholic Church changed the holiday to November, and the Protestant Church soon followed. Today, a thin Christian veil attempts to disguise an ancient pagan festival of the dead, which has become not only a secular observance, but notorious as the most favoured holy day of witches, sorcerers, and devil worshippers. I can't really say when I became interested in witchcraft. It's always been part of me, part of my roots. I love Halloween. I think we're very autumn birds. We dress up as pumpkins and so on because it's so. And we have a smoky cauldron and we all spry between the three hair ones. And the smoke which comes out of the cauldron. We open the gates of the underworld. If any spirits want to come forward and speak, we listen to them.
My first initiation, when I became first degree, was on Halloween, and I felt very, very much in tune with the god.
The ancient Druids worshipped Baal, one of the most powerful of all the demon kings. In the list of Enochian demons, Baal is said to be a king, which is the power of the East. Eastern religions emphasize that spiritual power comes from meditation. The common denominator between Druids, witches, and Satanists is the practice of meditation for the purpose of making contact with the spirits of the dead or disembodied souls.
Meditation would be the arts, and you get up this higher plane, it becomes less physical, more mental. It's years of painstaking study, meditational work, finding a higher mind, being able to actually tap into forces of nature and use those.
I have, on occasion, touched upon, I suppose you could call them spirit guides. People describe them in a different way. I am aware of a hierarchy of spiritual advisors who live on another continent that you can approach, that will acknowledge you and advise you and assist you. We have what we call contacts, there are other names for them. They are beings, that's the easy thing to call them, which can be people who have lived on the earth, or they can be informed. They become almost as real as the people standing next to you. And whoever else you call doesn't actually materialise. You can't see them in the physical sense, but mentally you know that they are there. You can see them in your mind's eye. They represent really forces in the universe. Forces that are like gravity or wind, but they're forces that have to do with our internal makeup and make our minds work in a way that they work.
Margaret Adler, practicing witch and author of Drawing Down the Moon, warns that the trance state, with its roots in ancient shamanism and paganism, is not to be entered into lightly or when alone. The spirit to be contacted actually enters the witch's body, using it to deliver a verbal message.
There's a possibility in a cult circle, the forces that come into the room could take over in full possession. We had one example here, where one of our nurse was possessed by, I don't know what it was, but another voice came through her, and she was out.
While occult procedures and their rituals may vary in intensity, the fact is that witches, as well as Satanists, commemorate Halloween night with the same fervent dedication to invoke spirits for personal power.
Queen of heaven, queen of hell, all the hunter of the night, lend your power to ourselves, and work our will by magic right.
Glenn, you've now been a Christian for some time. What is your reaction when you see Halloween celebrated by people?
Whenever Halloween time starts coming around, at the 1st of October, you go into the stores, you see the costumes, you see the mother with her little girl putting a witch's hat on her, and the little boy getting excited about getting the devil mask, and you see the candy, you see the Halloween pumpkins, you see people decorating their houses with skeletons, and all these symbols of death. You know, it always serves to bring back horrifying memories to me. Memories of death, memories of children being so abused, so ripped of everything, their character, all in the name of Satan. If a person could really stop, the next time they go to that store and realize that there are children who are going to lose their life because people are taking this a step further. There are people out there who don't just celebrate Halloween trick-or-treat candy. This is a religious holiday to them. This is something that is holy and sacred, and they are taking innocent human life. I can't say, go ahead and have Halloween fun. It doesn't matter if you're participating in Halloween, even if you're not a Satanist, if it's just for fun. No, because these Satanists are using this as a smokescreen.
Glenn, you said that Halloween is a religion of Satan. What do you think when you see churches and Christians celebrating Halloween?
It makes me sick that the Church of Jesus Christ would take on this horrible demonic thing that is happening in our world. Christians should be the ones who are standing up against this. Christians should be the ones who are saying these terrible things are happening and we want to stand against this. Churches should not be having these Halloween parties at all. They should be coming together as brothers and sisters in Christ, binding together and coming against these dark forces, praying for these children, that God will spare their lives, that somehow God will intervene and save these children.
Whether the public chooses to believe in the frightening growth of Satanism or not, the fact is that a highly organized network of Satanists are operating in America and Europe today. They seem to be respectable members of society and are integrated into all professions and walks of life. We go now to a special report from noted author Hal Lindsey, who is on location at a site known to be used for satanic rituals.
came out to a place in the hills east of Los Angeles, to a location that has been identified in the past with ritual worship, and we believe Satanism. Frequently, this site has been discovered with candles that have been used in ritual, and you can look at some of the artifacts we found here today, upside-down crosses that are put around, bones that are scattered around here, and various satanic symbols, but also something disturbing in the light of what we'll be talking about in the future, and that is the diaper of a very, very small baby. You know, I believe that this country is experiencing a pagan invasion, including a new absurd practice of witchcraft, the New Age, and as we will talk about today, outright Satanism. Around the middle of the 1960s, there was a dramatic upsurge in satanic worship, beginning with Anton LaVey and his writing of the Satanic Bible and founding of the Church of Satan in San Francisco in 1966. I watched as this accelerated, not just in the West Coast, but around the country. When Charles Manson and his gang in 1969 committed a horrible, brutal crime at Sharon Tate's home, this was done in connection with all of the paraphernalia of Satan worship. This started a whole avalanche of satanic crime. We've seen serial murders. We have watched as one after another has been brought to light. Many murders where